Hello everyone. Welcome back to Misfits Racing League action. My name is Stryfium, and joining me for America's Tier 2 here around Silverstone, Mr. Stars from the land down under. How you doing?
Stryfium, mate, very excited. America's Tier 2, feeling a lot better than what I was this morning. I've had my break and I'm ready to go.
Well, definitely looking forward to a fantastic race. We had a great one earlier for the Tier 4 division, and here we are once again. Take a look at Silverstone, Great Britain. 18 turns, 5.891 kilometers, 3.660 miles, and well, it's a very fast circuit. A long lap, but a very fast circuit. Well, looking forward to seeing how everybody jumps into this one. It is, of course, round 7 of 15. Next week we move on through to Baku, following that Hungary, Singapore, and then we have a break week between Singapore and France. Then we go through to the last 5 races of the season: France, Spain, Austria, Mexico, and then the finale in Brazil. And you love to see that. It's going to be a very intense season, and it's going to be a very intense season between these drivers right here, as we have Diego Surf 105 points in that top slot in this drivers championship. Johnny Disco 80 points in the McLaren. Vlad Putin 72 points. So things very tight in that top 3. Henner's looking to make a comeback in the Williams tonight. Raz as well, 44 points for the Ferrari, and that's your top 5. We have Alfa Romeo, McLaren, and Red Bull in the same order of the drivers in this Constructors' Championship. And well, it's going to be a very intense campaign here for round 7. We're at that almost halfway point. 15 rounds. We're here in round 7. Silverstone, a very iconic racing circuit, and hopefully these drivers will have an iconic and very good race this evening. You just want to see everyone have a good one in Silverstone, don't you?
Yeah, 100%, mate. Like you said, it's iconic. It's probably one of my favorite circuits, Striff. I mean, you got 18 corners, 5.8 kilometers. 296 meters to turn 1, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, we've seen issues going into turn 1, obviously all through the seasons as we go back. 40 gear changes roughly per lap for these drivers. So, I mean, I wouldn't say it is the most technical of circuits, but I think it's probably one of the most demanding ones where you've just got to keep your head in play. I think it's very easy to lose a car. There's numerous traction zones around here which can really catch out the drivers, like we saw this morning, you know, in Tier 4, didn't we? I mean, we saw 2 guys lose it out of left field, just like together. It was in sync. It was beautiful. It was sensational to see that. 70% throttle for the majority of the lap here, so very quick, high downforce circuit. We got 2 DRS zones, as you did allude to before. Amarillo lap record posted by Mr. Neon last season, 123.571. I don't think we're going to be going that quick today, Striff, but I think the drivers out here, it could be 1.6, 1.7 seconds off that. Obviously, Johnny Disco, he closed the gap last week after his win at Japan, and what a race that was. So he's hopefully going to try and keep closing that to Diego Surf after Diego didn't exactly have one of his cleaner races.
It's time to jump in now. Of course, 18 minutes of qualifying for these 20 racers, and then it is going to be, well, an epic campaign around Silverstone, 50% distance. We saw one earlier today, Tier 4. This division now, this Tier 2 America's division, has had more rain than any other division. The big question is, will they see rain again tonight? We're going to jump into this 18 minutes qualifying with a big roll of the dice. Going to be a very interesting weather forecast, I hope. With all of those weather conditions coming to hit this division, they get all the more stronger through their league racing. Round 7. I think they've had 4, if not 5 races with wet dynamic capacity, either in the race or in the qualifying session.
I mean, if you're going to want anyone on your team, if you've ever got an event, you're going to want these guys, because they're the ones who have experienced probably the most rain out of anyone so far.
On the grid, 20 drivers: Henners, Gazieg, Diego Surf, Captain Miner. We have combined a YouTuber with us as well. Dangu, hello, I am Hacker. LAS1, Frills, Larkin, Spinini. We have Vlad Putin, Wordad, Duffel, Johnny Disco, Paula, Raz, Waffleorian, Jay Forsai, and Jimsy. Very solid lineup of racers with us this evening. 18 minutes counting down as Henners will be one of the first racers to leave the pit lane. He is in the Williams. Home race for the Williams squad. Home race for Henners, the Englishman, here in, of course, UK. Be wanting to get himself a nice solid finish in that Williams car.
I mean, not wrong. He said his favourite driver is Lewis Hamilton. He's always backed him, and obviously Lewis, most prolific driver around Silverstone. I think it's got 8 wins now, 5 poles. So hopefully Henners can keep that going. Now I have got a weather report, ladies and gentlemen, and it looks like it's going to be a dry quali, and it's going to be light rain for about 45 minutes into this race, with potentially a bit of dry right at the end. So a little shoot to the line on soft tires, but I mean, obviously you never know. The weather does change. That is all just predictions at the moment, but we'll have to wait and see.
Well, I absolutely love the idea of seeing rain. This division, however, I think has had their fill of it. Henners coming through, Maggots, Beckett's, Chapel, and he will push down what Stars has come to realize, the hanger straight.
Oh, nice. Thanks, mate. Appreciate that.
What?
Look, sometimes we make mistakes, and mine was this morning. Okay.
At 5:15, yeah, in the morning.
5:15. Yep.
Henners now.
Henners.
Well, it's all you.
I appreciate that, mate. Thank you. Henners, as he goes round through club to begin his first flying lap of the session, as he goes down the start-finish straight into turn number 1, all flat out here in qualifying. Little touch of the brakes into the race, but I mean, qualifying is pretty much all sweet. Into the loop, as you can see, probably one of the toughest traction zones on the circuit here. You obviously want to get that exact amount of torque and maximize traction as you go along the Wellington Straight. DRS wide open as he revs that car all the way out, up into 8th gear, 315 into Brooklyn. And then you can see he fangs the car left into the right as well of Luffield. Again, another really tricky traction zone there. Doesn't use all the exit curb. He's probably just going to be doing about a 95% lap here at the moment. Just put a banker on the board. Henners very quick. We've seen him before, obviously, through every single season. Does take cops extremely well, actually, but I mean, there's probably a little bit more time left on the tables. Goes through Maggots into Beckett's and then through into Chapel. He does take that quite nice. He stays in 6th gear. DRS again wide open down the hanger straight. Should be getting up to about 320 kilometers an hour before he gets into the, I guess, light braking zone of Stowe. Does manage that quite well. Very easy to invalidate there on the exit curb. Not what you want to do. And into the Vale chicane. This is where the drivers can exploit the braking zone. Does touch that orange curb. You don't want to be touching that sausage curb too much, but needless to say, provisional pole at the moment, 127.3. There's about probably 7/10 on the board there for Henners. But like I said, just a banker.
Solid run there. We're going to be looking for the next active flyer. LAS1 in the Red Bull. Potentially he is on the medium compound tires. He'll be coming behind the Alfa Romeo of, I think that may just be combined beginning a lap. No, excuse me, that is Diag Surf. LAS1 28080 on the medium compound tires. A very competitive time in comparison to Henners on the softs. Finding some good pace on the mediums right now in that Red Bull. We're looking to see any more drivers coming through at times. We're at 27.5 on the soft compound tires. Spanini in the Alpine. He's coming in with a 27.806. Jay Forsai. And there goes Graz, 27.256. He actually puts himself in front of Henners in the Ferrari.
Ooh, Johnny gets very squilly, but still it is provisional pole. He's got about a 2.5 advantage over Graz there. He did get very squilly out of club.
Good run there, 26.994, the first driver in the session to go sub 127. We saw a number of drivers do that in today's Tier 4 session. Polypunk, if I'm not mistaken, took pole position in that division today. Alexander Zhu narrowly missing out on an opportunity, blowing his final run where he had 2 tenths in hand.
It's A firm on that, A firm on that. With Hello, I'm Hacker, or however I pronounce his name first time round. Butchered it, but got it right this time. That's it. That was a classic, that was. But needless to say, his first flying lap does have Paula in front. Shouldn't affect the car too much, but has made his way through Vale and Club quite nicely. Still 128.3 with Larkin on the mediums just behind, setting his lap only just under a tenth behind. DX Surf did invalidate, ladies and gentlemen, our championship leader at the moment.
Dangmu pushing through Club. How's it going to go on these mediums? 28.854. Getting a time onto the board there. Combined YouTuber in the Alfa Romeo coming through Stowe. Grills in the Ferrari.
Man.
He'll push through with first. 29.217 combined now.
The Australian, my boy. What's he going to do? P6, not bad, mate. Not bad. 127.639. Expect a bit more from him. I think he's on a bit of run of form at the moment. He did struggle at the start of the season. I'm not exactly too sure why, but since the last couple of races, he has been getting a few points positions, and he has moved his way up into, I think it is 8th or something like that. I saw on the championship, so he is on the move.
Jimsy right now pushing through in the McLaren into Stowe, coming out of the hangar straight, and we'll see what he is able to do. Jimsy, his teammate, is on the top slot right now, and he'll be looking to close that gap to his teammate, most definitely. Actually looking for a top 5 slot position here. How does he come through Club? Is it good enough for top 5? No, it's good enough for the top 10, however. A 27.667 coming out of Jimsy in the partnering McLaren. Duffeld, he is pushing through Maggots and Beckett's now.
Certainly is. Captain Miner went up into P number 9 on his second run on the medium compound tyres. Obviously, we've got Duffield in the Aston Martin coming up to Stowe at the moment. Goes down into 5th gear. Can take it in 6th there, but it really seems to struggle turning the car in there. That mid-corner rotation really not set up there nicely, I don't think, at the moment for him. But needless to say, he's going to get a lap on the board. He's a banker, but yeah, it's only P number 15, so a bit of work for Duffield.
Koziak bringing his car to the line now. He will get a 29.1 on the board. He is presently just on the rear of his teammate there for the evening, while Florian 4 tenths. Who we can find on an active flyer right now. Correct me if I'm wrong. Combined, he chained 2 runs, and he went third.
He did indeed. I actually don't think we have anybody on a lap unless Duffield's going again.
Well, combined just about into a comfortable shoey territory. Wouldn't you say?
I definitely would say it is the Australian tradition, my sir. But if we are wanting to watch anyone, I do believe Lars has started his lap. No, he isn't. That was massive desync. Oh no, the game's crashed for him. So hopefully we can get him back in the lobby. Commentator's curse gets me again, Striff.
Dieg Surf may have just had an issue. No, it wasn't Dieg Surf. Dieg Surf just began a lap. Check in with him. Get to see a time coming out of this Alfa Romeo tonight.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Striff, but he had the exact same issue last week, and I think he managed to get the lap, and I think he got P3 right at the end. He invalidated every single run. We had intermediate conditions, so pretty sure it's the same sort of thing. But I'm watching the sector split for Johnny Disco. Provisional pole at the moment is down on his time at the moment, so dare say he's hoping to find a bit of room to improve on this second half of his lap.
Raz is pushing right now in the Ferrari. He's ahead of Dieg Surf and ahead of Johnny. And he is presently up with a very large chunk in hand. Nearly 3/10 the improvement coming into Sector 3 down Hanger.
Got a bit of traffic to deal with here. Henders pulls off into the pit, so it shouldn't impact him too much. Nice and late on the braking zone there. Open the car up for your 180-degree corner of club. Wordad goes provisional pole, but is it enough? It isn't. Graz takes it right back off him. Thank you very much, sir. 126.937. Ferrari driver, great lap.
Very nice stuff there coming out of this lineup. There's less than, well, 600ths of a second separating our top three drivers at the moment. Wordad coming in with that 26.966 just ahead of Graz, and then Graz says, nope, it's mine. Ferrari pushing through Dieg Surf now. 27.225. He is not too far off of where those guys land in the top three, and we know him to be a very competitive driver.
Not wrong at all. Just keep your eye on Vlad here. He was up 3.5 tenths, sorry, on his Sector 1 split. If he holds it through Sector 2, where it has been a little bit squirrely here, this could be provisional pole as well. He's up by 5/10 at the moment. This is looking like an absolute banger of a lap by Vlad. All he needs to do is hold it together through the last sector, through Stowe into 6th gear, use all the truck available. As he does so, revs out that engine as late on the brakes as he dares, takes it through the Vale chicane, through club, 1 corner to go, get it across the line. This could be provisional pole. It is 126.757, 2/10 over Graz. What a lap there by the charging bull.
Yeah, it was a very solid run there. 26.757, really putting himself out in front of Graz by nearly 2/10, and it's just about 2/10 through to Johnny. The top four very tight, and when you look at this grid, well, you really can't look too far down to find a very competitive driver. It's all the way down this grid. You look all the way down this grid to 12th position where Captain Miner is sitting. Well, hello, I'm Hacker actually. 1 second the separation. Somebody else just came through to really put themselves into a solid spot. Trying to figure out who that was. It was, I think it might have been, I'm losing my mind. I thought somebody else had come through to push a lap through in there, but I'm losing it.
That's getting a bit late for you, mate. Understand? Paula going down the Hanger straight. 2/10 improvement so far. That's going to bump her up a little bit. Right on the back of Hennes, I dare say. If she continues where she's going at the moment. Only a couple more corners left. Looked pretty nice and tidy. We're a little bit squirrely at the end there. Shouldn't affect it too much. Actually jumps Hennes. Just. So that was a
nice
pretty solid. That P number 7. Only joking, P7. Paula.
Very good run there coming out of Paula. Paula's been having a very good season when you look at the overtaking statistics. She's had a lot of positions gained, unfortunately a couple of slip-ups. And, well, she's definitely been one of the highlight drivers in this division this season over at AlphaTauri, to say the least.
Indeed, just on board with Duffield at the moment to come through. Stowe was up by about 5.5 tenths. So this is going to propel him from about P17 all the way up into the mix for these last paying points positions if we're looking at a race schedule. And it is P number 6, another blinder low. Jeez, 9/10. Oof. 9/10 improvement there. Look how tight it is, Striff.
Yeah, it's very tight right now. Grid looking very competitive, especially up at the top end of the spear here. The tip of the spear, Vlad Putin, Graz, Wordad, your top three. They are within 2/10 of one another. Wordad looking to really bring that margin tighter as Dangui runs over the curbing through Brooklands. Enters with an issue. Paula Brady, 5th position, 27.1.
Oh, back-to-back laps.
That's the second time we've seen it. And a very good run coming out of Paula, second time around.
on board with Jimsy at the moment, who I believe is pushing. Coming up to Cops here. About 300 kilometers an hour. Slight touch of the brakes normally in the race, but during qualifying, flat out, use all of that exit curb. Does quite nicely there. You can see he was really trying to fight the car to make sure he didn't invalidate. Through Maggots, through Beckett's. Goes down into 5th gear there. Can take it 6th, so has probably lost a 10th or 2. But still is up 4.5 tenths nearly. So again, this is going to propel Jimsy all the way up the leaderboard as well. Oh, one's very wide there. Very wide. Took a long time to get back onto the throttle there, so probably lost a 10th there. So I mean, it hasn't been the cleanest of laps here, but Jimsy's still probably going to put himself right in the mix here as he crosses the line. P number 6 right behind Paula, 127.2.
Things getting even tighter among the top 10. Henners calling it in the pit lane. He is finished for the session.
You think that's a strategy play?
No, I
he's
think
P10 maybe.
He's not the biggest fan of this circuit, but it could very well be that he wants to start 11th. You never know.
That's
you
what I'm
never know
thinking.
with him. He's a millisecond separated with Captain Miner, who has also retired the car.
Spanini. Oh. Polar as well. My goodness.
Everybody
Have I missed something today?
Well, they're all calling it in the pit lane. Done. Can't get out. Can't get another run in.
On board with Vlad at the moment as he comes through sector number 1 onto the Wellington straight. It's going to be interesting to see his split time. He's got just shy of 2 tenths. Oh, 1 millisecond down on his time. Jeez, this is going to be tight. Graz is up by 1.5 tenths through sector 1 there.
Vlad Putin, he just invalidated. He stepped a toe out of line coming out of Luffield, and well, here comes Graz exiting the same corner.
This is Graz's opportunity. Word Dad up a 10th through sector 1. Johnny Disco goes provisional pole. My goodness, what a lap. Clutch 126.6, and he's called it there as well. He's not going to do another run. Combined YouTuber goes into P number 3, 126.8.
Oh!
And Graz has lost it.
That's not good.
All to play for. Who does that leave? It leaves Wordad. That's it. Or Dieg Surf. Dieg Surf is up 2 tenths.
2 tenths right now.
At the
Not
moment.
going to be enough. Wordad, big question mark to him coming through out of sector 2. He does have an improvement in hand. It might bring him closer to that top 3, but I don't know about pole. He'll need to really find something here through sector 3. He comes out of Stowe now, pushing down Vale, and he invalidates it.
You're kidding. My goodness.
Wow.
What an end to the session. There was about 6 drivers there who could have taken provisional pole striff, and Johnny Disco comes out clutch. McLaren boys.
Oh, Larkin has had a huge crash coming down into hangar. A little bit too much power there, my friend. Ouch. Johnny Disco, ladies and gentlemen, is looking like he is going to just hold on to this pole position very tightly. I think that's it. That's all. A lot of drivers retiring the car. Some in the pit lane, some not in the pit lane.
That was a high intensity last 5 minutes there. There's a lot going on. Stewie's could be on today, Striff.
Well, it's going to be very interesting to see how Combined pushes with his teammate there right behind him. The margin on this grid between Combined, Vlad Putin, and Johnny Disco, less than 2 tenths.
A second separates first to 13th. Goodness.
Yeah, it's tight. You do not want to blink. You do not want to make a mistake here. You do not want to step a foot on the grass, in the gravel. You will find yourself under immediate threat from a driver behind. And but you can't react too quickly either, because you could just find yourself getting tangled. Now, we do have an interesting dynamic ahead of us here, as we've been tipped off to have a light rain dynamic. Now, That doesn't mean much to us, considering we've seen a lot of interesting wet weather conditions lately. Notably, last week we saw 2 races where it was wet conditions, however, slick tires. My oh my, would it be something to see in Silverstone if we had that. But you can see all 20 drivers getting times onto the board today, and it was Johnny Disco, the fastest of them. The McLaren driver at 26.695. Vlad Putin went second quickest, just shy of a tenth on the rear of Johnny, and it was a 26.757. Combined, well, the resident Australian on the grid, he is in the Alfa Romeo at 26.852, within 2/10, and you'll be thrilled about that, won't you, Stars?
Definitely will be. I'm hoping it starts with wet tires for Hennes, because Hennes retired very early on in the session, and no one actually improved to be able to beat him. So he is going to be starting P number 10, and the rain is coming down. I dare say that's going to be Inters. I dare say that is Inters. But fun fact, like you did mention before, Striff, here's one for you. The stat man always pulls through. You know, there has never been a top 3 which has finished in the exact same order from qualifying. You know that?
Really?
Really?
Around Silverstone or just ever?
Around Silverstone. So the top 3 where they finished in qualifying, it's never been where they finished in the race. The top 3, like, exact. So if that's the case, I think then we might see a couple of position changes.
Oh, that's just a crazy statistic, isn't it? As we come in now, formation lap, 20 drivers on the grid, and it's what you love to see, or not love to see. Well, you have intermediate compound tires here in Silverstone. On the grid, we have Johnny Disco, Vlad Putin, combined YouTuber, Dieg Surf, and Graz, our top 5. Wordad, Paula Brady, 6 and 7, Jimsy in 8th. It's Duffeld in 9th, with Henners rounding out the top 10. Captain Miner in 11th position for Mercedes, with Spanini in 12th. It's Jay Forsai in 13th. Hello, I'm Hacker 14th. LAS1 in 15th position, with Dengwu in 16th position. We have Thrills with us 17th. Waffalorian 18th, Larkin 19th, and it is Mr. Gazieg, my former great rival, in P number 20.
P number 20. Your fellow Canadian. I'm sure Gorzieg will move up the field today. Nothing to lose, everything to gain. Interesting to see how much fuel the drivers have put in here, because obviously they're not going to be using as much fuel being in the wet. So obviously you can probably underfuel the car, but I mean, that just reminds me of 1991 when Mr. Senna ran out of fuel before the end of the race. So hopefully they haven't gone that low. I remember when Nigel Mansell picked him up, taxi for Senna. Oh, and my goodness, we've had, who is that? Is that Wordad? Wordad has lost it at the start of the hangar straight, right into the wall. Obviously, he won't have damage. He's been disqualified. It's very unfortunate.
That is not a boost of confidence in these conditions, even remotely. Not even remotely.
His tires are going to be nice and cold.
Well, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the UK. Welcome to the British Grand Prix. It is the 7th round of contention for our America's Tier 2 division. My name is Shriffium. Joining me is Stars, Johnny Disco, Vlad Putin on the front row. Well, you know what? We have a Canadian and an Australian in the top 3. I have to say I'm quite thrilled about that, considering you and I of the same nationalities. We've got Vlad Putin fighting for the Putin, and we've got blind YouTuber fighting for Alfa Romeo today.
Nicely said.
Alrighty, now 3, 4, 5 red lights here in Silverstone. The drivers are away. Who's got the best launch? Well, Dieg Surf has a great launch over on his teammate of Combine. Combine will have that outside line as we come through. Abby pushing everybody. Not a lot going on in this field. It's Paula Brady and Henners exchange.
Ooh,
Henners has a serious lunge into the third turn, and there has been contact. Henners is around. He's been hit. I'm not sure who has hit him. Jay Forside,
there are 6 cars around.
My, oh my, these conditions really presenting a very, very hard race start. Johnny Disco, Vlad Putin 1 and 2 at the moment. Graz and Dieg Surf, well, that position is under contention right now. Dieg Surf pushing through into third. Graz on the inside as we come through Luffield. Holding third for now in that
coming
Alfa
all the way
Romeo.
up into Stowe. Graz just tucks in behind.
Very pushed.
You don't want to be doing anything too silly on the first lap.
Paula under threat from Combined as Combined is dropped into 7th position, trying to find his legs in these conditions. Two Alpines, 11-12.
Jimsy has had an amazing start, up 3 spots. Jay Fasai up 5. Biggest losers were Dad, down 11.
I think Henner's misjudged that turn massively early on there, given his conditions. Jimsy and Graz 4 and 5 has been exchanged for as the McLaren continues to narrowly push down and get positions towards his teammate Johnny Disco, as we say, at 42.844, the fastest lap on the opening of this race, which is to be expected considering he hasn't lost lead of things just yet.
Made it through first lap. Oh, Duffield has hit Jay Fasai's rear left tyre, put him into a half spin, lost position to Captain Mine, and Air's going to get mugged. Spanini goes through. Deng Wu's all over the back of him as well. He's having to use ERS to try and defend himself into Brooklyn, which he's going to be able to do. P11 for the time being, but that is 2 positions lost in the space of 1 corner.
Graz, Jimsy on the exit of Luffield right now as Graz pushes on the inside. We're going to really watch these two tempt fate coming into now Cops. You can see Jimsy says there's nothing I can do when it's coming through Cops like that. Paula, 6th position for her right now. Will be very close to this.
Just waiting, biding her time at the moment. Runs very wide with Jimsy. Both of them. God, that's not what you want to do in the wet. Combined YouTube has a pretty decent run. And we've lost someone. Who's that? Who's gone into the pit, into the wall? It is Captain Miner. He's lost it on the exit out of Chapel and has got some little bit of wing damage. Oh, he's lost the car again. He's gone into another spin.
Gauziag Larkin, wheel to wheel as we come through into the Vale chicane. Still wheel to wheel. Gauziag, fronts to rears. You can see Thrills looking on right now. So much action unfolding in this race, and you absolutely love to see it. You really do. I imagine this Tier 2 division really tired of these wet conditions, because we mentioned it in the pre-show. They have seen more wet conditions than any other grid, and that, well, it held true as they got another roll of the dice go against them again today.
Yeah, they certainly did. These drivers are week in, week out, really testing their patience. Jimsy goes wide through Luffield. Paula has a pretty decent run. Got pretty much 100% ERS. Jimsy is using a bit of his. Paula's just poking the nose out there, just saying, hello, I'm here. Watch out. Make a mistake, I'll pounce. This is dangerous through Maggots and Beckett's, isn't it? Striff in the wet.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to put a foot wrong.
No, you really need to be vigilant, and any driver error can really cause a miscorrection. It can also cause a concertina effect through the field. Ooh, Duffield, Spanini, wow, around the outside of Stowe, the Aston Martin getting some good work in there.
Yeah, that was a very good pass. He's ran a bit deep though. Spanini's going to set him up here if played correctly, right on the back. Smelling the fumes coming out of the Aston Martin there. Couldn't get the move done though.
You don't want to ride too close through in the wet conditions either. Braking points not as they are normally, and it can cause even further issues. But these drivers narrowly getting themselves into the train that is behind Jimsy at the moment.
Up at the front, Vlad just holding that 6th, 7th, 10th mark behind Johnny. He's biding his time. Both drivers on 100% ERS. Obviously, you don't use as much in the wet weather conditions. Paula again with a pretty decent run out of Luffield on Jimsy. Closing that gap. Under 2/10 now, showing the nose once again. Maybe trying to force Jimsy into an error here. The mental games have started.
Yeah, there's a lot of mental games you can play through a circuit like Silverstone. Paula, however, doesn't want to be doing that too many more times through this race as there's a yellow
she's
flag.
run wide. Run. Oh, I thought she was going to lose it. Sorry, Striff, to cut you off there. She nearly lost it through Chapel. She's having to use ERS to defend from Combined. This is looking tight. Combined goes for a little bit of a send here. Pokes the nose in, hits Paula and gets put into a spin. Is he going to get collected by anyone? I hope not. He does get off the racing line.
Ooh, very tough racing there for Combined, coming in on that inside in these conditions. I didn't see it on board, but he has come round and he has not gone into the pit lane, so that wing intact.
Yeah, the door just closed on him. I mean, Stewards will probably have a look at it later on, but it was a very fine line there.
Big Surf has really narrowed this gap to the leaders, and of course Battery in full utilization coming down Wellington. Just dancing in and around that 1 second range. Graz 1.6 on the rear of the Alfa Romeo. Vlad Putin seems to be struggling through left field.
Ooh! Just on board with Vlad there, nearly lost it. He nearly went into a half spin. Luckily he let go of the throttle. Has lost a fair bit of time now to Johnny. Like you said, Diego Surf really closing that gap.
Jay for Sai right now. About 2 seconds the gap between him and Paula. And Jay for Sai has been having a solid season since he's come back. 7th position right now. Could be playing a little bit of team tactics, holding up Duffield, Benini, and the rest of the gang. While Paula continues to apply some pressure to Jimsy. Penalty or no penalty.
He's starting to come in thick and fast now.
See if Jay is able to break a DRS range, well, even though no DRS is enabled, but if he's able to break that 1 second, it's kind of a little bit of a safety for him to maybe catch up with Paula. But you can see Paula right now, that gap has dropped about half a second.
Yeah, it definitely has. Raz seems to be pushing a fair bit. Got a little bit less ERS than most of the other drivers ahead of him. He was about sideways going through Aintree before. Jimsy again really struggling on exit there out of Luffield. This has been lap in, lap out. Wordad, fastest lap of the race there.
Ozieg, he's had some kind of issue, I think, here, because Combine's absolutely blown by him.
You know what's interesting to watch, Striff, is these drivers, where their strengths and weaknesses are in the wet around the circuit. You know, Paula just is so much better through Brooklyn and Luffield over Jimsy, but the Jimsy just absolutely destroys it through this last sector. And it's just and now it's going to be a tactical game. It's okay, where can I make up time? How can I do it? How can I set the car up for the overtake?
Oh yeah, it's very, very interesting to see that over the course of a race as well. Adjustments made, because you do make those adjustments mid-race. You're trying to find that extra little bit of time. It's not just something that you would do in a practice or something like this. You take those risks in the race. All you need, it's what you must do. Spanini, Dangwu right now. These Alpines have been running tandem for quite some time, and I'm wondering at what point something may give between the pair.
Yeah, seem to be just holding stations at the moment.
Speaking of
Paula.
stations, Johnny and Vlad tight between them, half a second.
Yeah, Vlad's picked up a lot of time. He was about a second down before. Paula all over the back of Jimsy coming into Stowe here. Is this going to be a move in wet weather conditions? This is does back out of it, but then Jimsy leaves the room. Paula has a second thought of it. It's going to end in tears.
Jimsy, 5th position for him at the minute.
That's allowed Jay Fasai to catch up.
Well, Paula trying to find a solid exit here. She gets it. DRS now.
DRS.
Not DRS, ERS. Overtake.
Battery. Side by side into the braking zone of Vale. Does have the inside line, but now Jimsy's going to have it. Jimsy does take the lead. Paula does go and Paula touches that sausage curve. Not what you really want to be doing, especially in wet weather conditions, let alone, well, I should say in the dry, but let alone in the wet. Duffield picks up another 3-second time penalty for his troubles and actually goes for a send onto Jay Fasai, inside line there, side by side still. Who's going to have the better traction? Jay Fasai really gets a squeeze on, really forces him to have to use... Oh, and there's a bit of wheel-to-wheel contact, sends Jay Fasai into a spin. Now Jay Fasai has to watch everyone go by.
Yeah, that's very tough there. I'm not sure what to say about that exchange. It's wet conditions, and there looked to be a little bit of a wheel bang. Even
I think
the
Jay
slightest...
Fasai was trying to... Yeah, look, honestly, I think Jay Fasai was trying to squeeze Duffield out onto that ripple strip to really hurt his traction, but what happened was Duffield got a little bit squirrely and actually kind of tapped him, which just sent Jay Fasai into a mad spin. So I mean, it's unfortunate, tight, tough racing, but that's wet weather conditions. But
Yeah,
now that's given Paula a bit of breathing space.
Unsettling that car, just finding yourself in a spin, and once you get into that position, the momentum just carries you.
Yeah, definitely. Paula still applying this pressure to Jimsy. This is the only battle I'm watching at the moment because it's so entertaining.
It has been quite entertaining to watch. Take a look at the fastest lap. It's a 38.296. That's from Captain Miner, as he did have to pit. There's a significant amount of drivers with penalties of 3 seconds on the board. You can see the position changes. This fight right now, Jimsy has made up 3 positions. Paula up 1 behind him. Henners adds himself another 3-second time penalty. I just wanted to double check that I didn't say it. He joins the club. He's now leading the club. The club president penalties.
President. Someone's got to come first.
Might as well be him.
So these 4 up front, Johnny Disco, Vlad, Dieg Surf, Graz, all different constructors, different manufacturers. Oh, well, no, that's a lie. Disregard that comment. They've kind of pulled away here, and they're pulling away pretty much like a second a lap over Jimsy. I remember when Jimsy overtook Graz, and then Graz overtook him on lap 2, and yeah, put 10 seconds on him.
You have this group in the front, these top 4, and then you have an entire train with Jimsy at the front of it. Drills the little caboose in the back. Got a yellow flag, that's through.
Word, Dad.
Luffield, excuse me, Wordad, as you mentioned. Paula just so tight with Jimsy here.
Jimsy, a little bit of a snap there. Allows Paula to close the gap. This is where Paul has been really strong. Jimsy, very, very weak. She's extremely close this time. She gets a good run, which is looking not bad at all. ERS engaged for Paula. Jimsy,
Oh, here we
bit
go.
too late on that. This is going to be dangerous. Paula gives him the space, but gets the move done.
Very nicely done there from Paula.
Committed. That's committed there. Round the outside. Great move.
On the outside of Cops in the wet. Thank you very much, says Paula. The AlphaTauri squad going to be thrilled about that. Jimsy under threat from Duffel. Just the same. Dengwu's there. A little bit of separation to Spanini.
Reels getting close to Waffle at the moment. Can't get the move done into Stowe. Up front, nothing's changed. Everyone's holding stations. Johnny Disco has a WDC to play for. Yeg Surf as a penalty. Johnny just needs to keep it clean.
Yeah, he's in solid position right now. Not a lot that he can do here other than just maintain consistency. Are you pitting in this race? What is the
Yeah,
situation on the tires? Can you go the whole distance on a set of intermediate compound tires in Silverstone, or is it going to be a one-stopper? And when do we see this coming up? Surely we are nearing that halfway point. We are going to see stops, if any at all, come soon.
Remember, we should see a bit of dry running right at the end of the race.
Say something right now. Duffel not waiting for dry running. He's all over Jimsy, but not close enough as we saw Paula dispatch the McLaren a short time ago.
Lad goes straight, as in straight through Chapel. Goes all over the grass there. Luckily he didn't pick up a penalty for it.
Go Duffel now ahead of Jimsy as we come through into Stowe. Sixth position.
Dengwu joins the party.
Oh, a slight tap there, Duffeld.
Oh,
Oh, man, how did he get that wrapped under control? But you can see Duffeld is just looking at everybody come through the chicane now. And when I say everybody, I mean everybody.
Dengwu had a 3-second time penalty. That's what he had.
Wheel the wheel right now, Dieg Surf Graz. As we come through now into Brooklands, Dieg Surf leading the Ferrari.
Benini spins and is watching all those cars drive by.
Yeah, that's a tough position to find yourself in, no doubt. Dieg Surf 1.7 on the rear. Vlad Putin under threat here with Graz, of course, as that fight has brought them off of the front runners.
Fine YouTuber, ERS engaged, looking for that 1 point over Henners. Both drivers have had issues this race. It's a recovery mode. They're both quick. There's Wordad again. Oh no, it's Benini, sorry. There's another little issue through Luffield. Henners goes very wide, hits the grass. This is Combine's moment, has a better run. Both drivers, battery engaged. Henners tries to break the toe. Combine's closing. Combine's in the same situation he was before. Oh, that's extremely tight. Henners runs a little bit wide, still pretty much rears to fronts. But Henners manages to hold on to the position. I had to hold my breath there for a second there, Striff. I thought the same thing was going to happen before. Waffle has Waffle had an issue. Thrills gets past, but Jimsy, he's called it.
Yeah, he will be the first to come into the pit lane here, Jimsy now. And I wonder if this is him going for a potential undercut on Johnny, just getting himself into the pit lane, trying to guess when he thinks Johnny's going to come in. unless there is an element of communication there. One thing is that the rain has not stopped.
It's extremely light though.
More penalties coming through here. You can see Henner's still the president, but Werdad now is the vice president, along with Larkin. Club is growing with the penalties.
And is closing onto Waffle as they go through probably the trickiest part of the track in the wet weather.
Johnny Disco, he motioned to go into the pit lane there to see if Vlad would go and blink, but nobody went in.
Paul has caught it though. Paula is into the pit lane. Thrills follows her.
I have to say, this pit lane entry is so long. It's like the most painful entry. You're sitting there on your way in, and you're just, you know, come on, move. Let's go.
Hey, Kimmy, how you going? That's very well done there, Stripium. Just on board with Jimsy at the moment. Curious to see. Had a horrible run through club, not gonna lie there. That was as dirty as you'd want it, but interesting to see. Obviously Paula has come out in front, so undercut there hasn't worked.
No, that's really not good for Jimsy at all. Henner's under threat, however, holding well with Waffleorian. Combined YouTuber looks on as the Englishman hunts down the Belgian.
Garfield managed to get past Gorzig just before they got into Cops. And this is looking racy. Top 4 stay out. Hennes runs wide, picks up a 3-second for his troubles. Still, the president.
Thought something was special in that car after Tier 4 today. Seeing some of the Cops extensions, and so he thought maybe Stowe would bring him some luck.
Oh, maybe that was the plan.
Only brought him 12 seconds.
Top 4 decide to stay out, like mentioned previously. I think this is going to be a thing where if there is a bit of dry at the end, are they just going to force it all the way through? Because you do lose a lot of time in this pit lane, like you mentioned before, Striff.
I
a
think
lot
they
of
push
time.
it. I think they just go inners the whole way. If there's no risk of puncture, why not? But I think that there is going to be a stint where they switch these tires. I think there's going to be a second stint. Really, it's not a full run on the same tires. We've seen a number of drivers come in. However, it hasn't necessarily brought them much. Paula, the lead driver of the Fresh Rubber Runners. Neither Johnny nor Vlad opting to push themselves into that pit lane. Gazieg, a 3-second time penalty after multiple warnings. Been a very intense light rain race. Happy to see the intermediate compound tires back after our last trip to the wet was on slicks. And with that, big shout out to everybody tuning into the stream tonight. Massive thanks to everybody. And my name's Striffium here from Canada. Joining me is Stars from Australia. Thanks to all the drivers as well. Tomorrow we'll be back with the Tier 3 racing action. That will be at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 8 p.m. for those of you in the UK, and 9 p.m. Central Europe. Tier 3, just like all of the divisions this season and Season 5, have been presenting extremely intense championship battles. Thrills now 37.608 in the Ferrari, fastest lap of the evening.
Duffield has had another issue.
Not what you want to be
There's a
doing.
few spins for him. And I think it's only, you're going to see more of them striff on 15 lap old inters. This is the time. These front runners are going to have to be very careful. I'm just curious to see if one of them blinks.
Early Johnny comes in.
Oh,
he's trying to see if Vlad will call it.
Run all Holden stations at the moment. Hello, I'm Hackers coming out of the pits, but right in the front four's way, pulls over to the side and lets them continue their battle. So he is now 1 lap down in this race.
Very serious fight for a win here. It really has not stopped. These two have been 1 and 2 the whole race. Johnny and Vlad.
He's had a pretty quiet race. Is Deng Wu just made his way, starting obviously. Where did he start? He's up 4 spots. So I mean, what's that? That's 9th, is it? Quick mass. He's just been kind of pretty chill to himself. As we've got a few penalties coming through. 10 seconds for Jimsy. Not what you want, but yeah, Deng Wu just keeping to himself, having a pretty clean race.
Just a casual 10-second time penalty there. And I have no idea why. One thing to note, Combined still has not been able to dispatch Henners. Henners holding well with Waffalorian. Larkin is here as well.
Yeah, Larkin's made up a fair bit of time on these guys. And maybe pitting was the wrong call here. Paula is out of the point still. Got past Jimsy. Woolsey's still 3.5 seconds up the road.
In any event, though, if those tires for whatever reason drop off a cliff, she's in a great position to catch it. Any of the positions that'll come and fall her way. Three seconds. She's bringing that gap down. And she's got about 8 laps to bring it down massively.
Anything I'm concerned about is once she dispatches Gauzy, you got 10 seconds up the road.
Captain Minor
Captain Minor.
37.471. He is on 13 lap old intermediate.
So that just shows that you still have pace in these older tires.
Here goes the Aussie of Combined, fronts to rears now. Henner's on the inside as we come through Cops. How is this going to go? Combined.
Oh, look at that.
Holding on the outside.
Thought he was going to force Henners into braking a fair bit later and get him with a beautiful exit run, but didn't happen. Larkin picks up a 3-second time penalty. Front four still stay out. Weather looks like it's coming down harder now, especially through sector 1.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to see it ease up.
It's definitely giving the fans a good showing at the moment.
Duffeld under threat from Thrills, half a second, the barrier between these two. Of course, you've got Thrills on the 3-lap old intermediates. Jay Forsai, a very large margin behind him. But that top four holding together 16.8 seconds in front of Dang Wu. My oh my, if they ever pushed the bar. Waffle-Lorian 9.2 on the rear of Dang Wu. He's in 6th position here in a reserve capacity over there at Haas.
Raz still putting in those laps. He's up 2/10 on his personal best, so these ints are still sticking around.
Bit of a rubber band there on board with combined with Henners. One of those, and his car might just drive straight through the rear of that Williams. We're just about to enter into, well, we've already entered into lap 20 for these racers.
Oh.
Henners collecting 3-second time penalties tonight. Now,
15 seconds.
15, yeah.
Just having a look at penalties at the moment. You got Dig Surf, who is going to be one who's going to be losing his podium at the moment. Deng Wu, his 3-second won't matter. Henners, oh, who knows where Henners is going to finish now.
He's out of the top 10, surely.
Got Larkin, who's on 9 as well behind, so there is a little bit of breathing space.
Gauzy with 6.
Duffield has come to the pits and fitted the soft tyres.
No way.
My goodness.
That's a gamble.
This is going to be interesting.
That's a gamble, and I don't think it's a good gamble. Henners pushing through on Waffle-Lorian inside as we come through into Cops, and then it's Combined who's looking on, wanting to catch up with the Williams. Just in front, however, we're going to jump really quick to Vlad Putin, tight with Johnny Disco. Nothing doing just yet. Back to Ghazi again. Paula into 10th, ahead of Ghazi. Back to Combined on the rear of Waffle-Lorian, coming down Hanger into Stowe now on the inside. We've seen Combined come through here this time.
Duffield
very far out in
has
front.
lost it.
Waffle-Lorian, nothing he can do to fight against that.
Duffield has lost it at the start of the Wellington Straight.
Yeah, he's got no wing on that car either.
Honestly, I was shocked he didn't lose a tyre then. I thought that was going to bring out a safety car. If that did, that would have been very detrimental.
Well, he's got some way to go yet. So fingers crossed he makes it back to the pit lane and gets things back intact all right.
Sorry, Deng Wu has also fitted the soft compound tyres from P5. Did he just throw away a P5?
Surely.
What is going on, Striff?
I don't know what that is to go onto the soft compound tires. The rain is still coming down.
He's just thrown away a
the
P5.
Rain is it's still coming down, the rain. It's not time.
No, God no. He's lost 8/10 and growing.
And Captain Miner
1.3.
has just come out on a fresh set of intermediate compound tires to set the fastest lap of the race. Johnny Disco has yet to come in. We are on lap 22 of 26. Johnny Disco and Vlad Putin have not moved. They have held station 1 and 2 the entire race. Ladies and gentlemen, they are looking to go the distance without stopping. Duffelt is into the pit lane. He has retired the car after his issues, and Deng Wu after his pit into soft tires. I cannot say is going to be in any kind of position to finish this race in points.
He lost it as well, coming through Chapel. I think that's gonna hurt
Is that a retirement? Do you come in at the end of your race? Do you just say, I blew it? What do you do?
Yep.
He's coming back in right now. Fitting new tires
Yep.
or calling it, one or the other, but that's tough. Lap 22 out of 26. We're about to go into lap 23 here as well.
A little bit more ERS now being used by this top four. Few laps to go now. Vlad looks like he has a little bit more pace than Johnny Disco. But Johnny has driven a stellar race so far.
Now, we're seeing Johnny Disco, Vlad Putin there lapping past Dengwu. Okay? Dig Surf and Grass, close proximity. We saw Dengwu come into that pit lane on the soft compound tires. Okay? Now, pay attention to this. He's still on soft compound tires.
Yeah, so he's a lap down now. And right in front of him, Wordad has gone into a spin. And that is on fresh inters.
Well, the conditions are far from ideal no matter what tire you're on. And
Amen.
one
Couldn't have said it better myself.
clear-cut indicator that you are not ready for dries is that the DRS has not been enabled in any capacity. The DRS has not been enabled. And as a result, you can see, look at the spray coming off of Jimsy just in itself. This has been a wild campaign. It really has been.
It definitely has. After this lap, I don't think any more safety cars will be coming out. We haven't had one, but just saying.
Well, that's consistent with our earlier race
Oh,
as well.
hold on.
Ooh.
Hold on.
Wait.
What is going on here?
No way.
What is going on?
No way.
You have to be... No way. The rain is still coming down. The track won't dry up that quickly in 3 laps.
This is unbelievable. I cannot believe what we just witnessed here.
That is the biggest... They're putting fresh inters on.
Puncture risk.
That has to be puncture risk. Has to be.
I'm blown away by that. I am absolutely blown away by that. Look at the gap.
They should still hold P3 though. But they're going to have freezing cold tyres. They've got to be careful on exit here.
Henners.
So holding P3, P4. They've just come out in front of Henners. Henners 15 seconds, so he's...
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's... Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Combined, though. And my game's crashed.
As is mine. And that's an ego dumper for myself.
And same here.
And for Mr. Stars. We are going to hopefully get ourselves back in as soon as possible and get you the finish of this race. But, of course, Stars and I, in synchronization, have been effectively removed from the spectating, which is absolutely fantastic. But we're going to hopefully get ourselves back in just a quick moment's time here to bring you the end of the race.
So it must have been puncture territory. Must be right on the cliff.
Well, to see those drivers come in at that phase of the race is very, very interesting, to say the least. Getting back into session now, and hopefully it will allow us back. All right. Again, apologies for the delay, but we can see now we are back in session after both spectators were ejected. And we have the penultimate lap of the race unfolding in front of us. Dieg Surf, Graz, and Johnny Disco, our top three. Vlad Putin tight to the rear of Johnny Disco, as we just saw Johnny Disco and Vlad Putin come through into the pit lane for inter switches. And this is very, very interesting to see. They are nowhere near, absolutely nowhere near the top two now. The gap is massive.
Certainly is. These drivers got to bring the car home. These tyres must be burning at this stage. Is that DRS enabled? DRS is enabled, Striff.
Well, that's a huge development. That's an absolutely massive development.
So Deng Wu, fastest car on track. Hennes is pitted. Gorzieg, both for the soft tyres. I don't understand that. With 1 lap to go, they're just being lapped now, so their race is effectively done. But it's the front two who I've got my eyes on. Graz will have DRS for 2 zones. Both, well, DXerf's got 100% ERS. Graz 70%. Here it is.
Oh man, this is very important for Graz. The inside gets through very neatly in through Brooklands. And the other fight we need to pay attention to is Vlad Putin and Johnny Disco as well for that 3rd position. No penalties in contention between them. Jimsy, 8th position. Waffalorian in the pit lane.
Vlad decides to not open up his DRS on Johnny Disco. He's waiting till that 1 zone left down the hanger straight. And he's all over the back of Johnny. He's effectively pushing him through Luffield at the moment. But Graz, he's run away with it, Striff. Nearly put 2 seconds on him. Oh, DXerf obviously had the penalty anyway, but this is done and dusted.
This has been a wild race, to say the least. We saw Johnny Disco and Vlad Putin leading the entire race. The entire race, start to finish, is what we thought they were going to be doing here today, but it is going to be Graz. Graz, ladies and gentlemen, in the Ferrari, the 2nd Ferrari today to get a win, and now it's going to go wheel to wheel between these two who led the race for ages as DXerf crosses 2nd. Vlad Putin, Johnny Disco, they finally exchange. Vlad Putin, 3rd position for him as we come through the chicane, and my oh my, Graz, DXerf, and Vlad Putin are your podium here in Silverstone for the 7th round of the Tier 2 Americas division. That was a wild race. And I am very eager to speak to Vlad Putin after that pit stop, no doubt, if he's available.
Not wrong. Combined YouTuber gets into P5 with pens, or without pens, and Paula with pens. Paula, pretty good comeback there. P6, I should say. Jimsy has given the spectators a little bit of a pirouette across the start-finish straight.
Jay Forsai collecting a couple of points there. Been doing a lot of points finishing. Both AlphaTauris this season have been on a strong push. What a race. We're going to get interviews.
Benini crosses the line. Captain Mine, our last driver on the grid to cross the line. Use all of his battery for this lap. Brings it home for the Mercedes crew. P number 14.
Very good run there. Very good run in that race. Really enjoyed that one. Alrighty. Take a look at the classification now. After that, it's the Ferrari on top, giving away copies of the game we're all playing at the moment. What a race. What a race. Gotta love it. Graz, 5th to 1st here in this one, stars. 4th to 2nd for DXerf, and it was, well, the front row where Vlad Putin started this one. He climbs things back to the podium after an up and down race. Well, not really an up and down race. Him and Johnny Disco, 1st and 2nd the entire campaign until one of the final laps where they both decided, let's go in and switch our tires. And Vlad Putin got the better of that exchange. What would have happened had they stayed on those same tires?
I think they're going to be kicking themselves, like you said. Looking forward to speaking with Vlad.
What a race. Just Great one. 35.950 fastest lap coming out of Dangwoo. However, that will that point additional point from the top 10. Ferrari.
Dangwoo there started P16, should have finished P5. It's disappointing to see.
Double point. Ferrari, Alfa Tauri, and McLaren all get double points. Bull.
How do you begin to summarize that race, though?
Well, I don't know. I don't really know how you summarize that race. Wet for starters. Really, really dramatic and intense. We're just going to see if we can get some of our podium finishers in here for an interview. I do believe we have our race winner. Well, what a day for Ferrari. They won the Tier 4 race with Polypunk, and they've now won the America's race. It's been a stellar day for the combined constructors.
Especially for Graz. And Graz is only kind of new to this game. Yeah, obviously, his gaming career was elsewhere, and now he's come into the F1 scene and just getting wins out here.
Alrighty, we do have an interview, and it is going to be with Mr. Graz from Ferrari, taking a win today. What a win it was. It's the second win today for the Scuderia Ferrari squad, and I imagine you guys must have something going on here around Silverstone. Congratulations. It was a very, very big win, as Johnny Disco and Vlad Putin with the most wild strategy calls we've seen in the car. Graz, how are you feeling for victory?
Man, that was a little bit of a nail biter there. I mean, especially with like the inters kind of falling off at the end, and then whenever Vlad and Johnny went into the pits, I didn't know what the hell was going on. So I mean, I was just following Dig Surf because I needed to stay behind him just to make sure I got on the podium. So I was just following him the entire race. So thankfully it worked out. But I'm not sure if maybe they might have been in puncture territory or what.
What was your tire wear on your end in the end of that race? I mean, you guys went the whole race on those tires, so you'd have a good idea of where they would have been.
Yeah, at the last lap, it just hit 70%.
Just hitting 70% on the last lap stars, that makes it even more a question as to why they might have come in. But of course, Raz, you stayed out, you followed the egg surf, as you said, and it was a very, very huge race for you guys to come through, and you took a race win.
Yeah, felt good to finally be racing up there with the top guys, so glad it worked out today.
Baku coming up next. How do you set yourself up after a race win? You're up there with the top guys. You're showing great pace today in the conditions as well. Baku, is it something that you're looking forward to, or not necessarily your track?
Definitely more so my track than Britain, to be honest. But you know, two race, or I guess two podiums whenever it's been raining. So hopefully it rains again. But that's pretty unlikely with Baku. So we'll see.
Well, congratulations on the victory, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you next week at Baku.
All right, thank you very much.
That was Graz, everybody. Now we are going to take a moment. We are going to speak to Mr. Dieg Surf. Welcome to the commentary booth. What a finish it was in this one. Very interesting race. Very interesting race with the weather dynamic for you coming into this one. But of course, let's talk us through your race. Congratulations on the podium finish. And I want to ask you, what were you thinking about the McLaren and Red Bull pitting near the end of the race?
Well, starting at the beginning, it was difficult. I had a small dose of ghost inputs, which ultimately hindered my race pace and a tiny bit of consistency into the race. I was just drifting wide in a couple corners, not expecting it. It was a little annoying, almost spun a couple times. But overall, we literally did the entire race just following behind those, just behind the McLaren and the Red Bull, the entire race up to like the lap 23, and then I just see them pitting, and I don't know why they pitted, man, but I don't think it worked out for them, sadly, but yeah. It was kind of lucky there. Managed not to spin. It was literally just up to God at that point, because it was very difficult.
Well, it was a very intense race, to say the least. Very intense. We were wondering the entire race, are we going to see these guys come in? And we finally saw the front two come in, and you guys stayed out. And we were wondering, is it a puncture risk? But then we heard from Raz saying the tires were okay. So a solid podium finish for you. Of course, you have a very serious championship position. How does this race set you up for Baku next week?
Well, it looks like it set me up pretty well. I just want to congratulate Graz because he did a really good race. He basically did the same thing I did, but just better in every way. So that was really good. Hopefully next race I'll be able to clean out my pedals so that they won't be just throttling up whenever they want to. And yeah, that's gonna be a little better hopefully.
It was a fantastic race. Wrap things up.
No, I just want to thank my engineer, Foltzman, because he kind of told me to stay out. And yeah, that was a good call.
Big shout to Tholtzman. He'd know all about the rain in Hungary. That's to say the least. Stars, any questions for Diego Surf before we wrap things up?
No, not really. Honestly, Diego Surf, great race there, mate. Obviously, you got that penalty, which hindered you a little bit. But I mean, at the end of the day, you made the right calls. Other drivers didn't. You capitalized, and I believe you're still in P1 for the WTC. So good luck for next week, and no doubt we'll be having a chat to you if you continue along these lines.
Thank you very much.
Take care. All right, that wraps up our coverage of the British Grand Prix for the Americas Tier 2 division. And I have to say, coming into this race, I was not expecting another wet campaign, and I'm sure the Tier 2 drivers of this division were not either. But man, oh man, did it provide us with a stellar race and another solid points finish for, of course, Diego Surf, but Graz with a race win in the Ferrari to make it 2 Scuderia Ferrari wins here in 5 MRL action for round 7. Stars, any last words from you before we wrap things up and say good evening?
Honestly, Striff, what a blinder of a race that was. We've had 2 amazing races so far. Looking forward to Tier 3 action very, very shortly. That no doubt is going to be hell of a race to get involved with. But thank you again for having me alongside you, and looking forward to next week, sir.
Well, thank you very much for joining me as well, Stars. And thank you, everybody, for tuning into this broadcast tonight. We'll see you tomorrow for the Tier 3 action and as well as the Americas Tier 1 racing just the same. Ciao, ciao for now.